Next up, we will have a financial system update. Yessie Mendoza-Tate is a manager in Enterprise Application Services here and everyone's favorite computer geek. So help me in welcoming Yessie to the stage.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for the introduction, Ginny. You guys know I like to talk, so I've been told I only have 15 minutes, so this should be fun. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So what I'm here to talk about mainly is some of the stuff I went over at the Business Connection meeting. I know you guys don't normally attend that meeting, so I was asked to do this presentation as well. To talk about some new stuff that we've developed or is coming. So one of the big things that I hope you guys are going to like, especially if you do non-grant stuff too, is that for you guys in the grants world, we kind of had already done this for you guys. We had given you queries inside your grants tile and reports in your grants tile, so you guys kind of knew where to find your stuff. But with the new tile and navigation collection stuff that we implemented, Tom and I finally realized, why haven't we done this for the rest of campus and provided them with a way to find all queries and reports? Because sometimes we have folks who call us and say, yes, I want this query. We create it for them, they run it. But you know, there's turnover, people move positions, whatnot, and queries are forgotten. So one of the things that we are going to be rolling out soon, I don't have a date yet, is a new tile called Queries and Reports, okay? So instead of hunting down your queries and hunting down your reports, they'll actually be centralized in one location, okay? Once this goes live, it will appear on your financial systems homepage automatically. You won't have to add it. So what the plan is that when you open the tile, it will be organized by the different areas or doc types, so by AM, AR, chart field requests, IDTs, journal, vouchers, projects, and within each section, you will find queries and or reports that are available for you to run, okay? Keep in mind that we are still working with the central offices to get any other queries they want to add. This doesn't mean that what we roll out the first time means that we wouldn't add anything else. So if you guys happen to know, once you see it rolled out, hey, Yessie, why isn't this query here? Why isn't this report here? Just, you know how to find me, send me an email, and we will be gladly, more than happy to add it to the tile, okay? So we're hoping this is going to help. So mainly I'm talking about those queries that you probably see now around the tiles, you know, my vouchers, vouchers by department, by status, journals by status, my journals, my chart fields, that kind of stuff. Okay, and this is what I mean. Inside your grants tile, you guys already have the grants campus reports, which is this bottom shot right here, which is all the reports that are available for you guys to run. And then there's a folder called Grant Campus Queries that has a list of queries that were developed for you guys to use to monitor your projects as well. Okay? And if you didn't know about them, there you go. All right. I hope by this time everybody knows about the new asset report, because I blasted an email to the entire research area. Again, one of those things where, why haven't we developed a report to help you guys when you're doing your grant closeouts to help you reconcile your capital equipment charges to AM? There you go. So we've developed a new report that's now live. It's available on the PI and research portal. It's on the equipment tab. You can run it from there. You can also find it in the asset and surplus tile, in your grants tile, and in the financials quick nav tile as well. And basically the report shows you what your balances are at the capital equipment level, which is what matches WRS. It'll show you your current state of what assets have already been booked in the system and what their balances are. And it'll show you a list of charges that need to be capitalized but have not yet been capitalized. So I hope you guys have had a chance to run this report and use this report, and I hope it's helpful in trying to work and making sure that your grants are closing out and working with the controller's office to get your charges capitalized and tagged. Okay? You don't sound excited. Y'all are funny. Okay. All right, and the other thing that we added too, so that you guys wouldn't have to hunt it down, is if you guys have run the report, you should notice it runs into Excel, which I think is great. And, you know, being an accountant, I want it in Excel too. And it has 3 tabs. The first report you saw, the second tab is actually the WRS journal detail of that section. So you guys don't have to go rerun WRS, it's already giving you the journal detail from that capital section. And then the third tab is actually a user guide. So if you need help in understanding what each section means, what each column means, we've given you a full detailed guide of how to read the report. Okay? So a new report coming. Again, it's one of those things, you guys have heard me in the past say that some nights I can't sleep, and I start thinking about, if I was doing your job, what would I like for you to have? Or what I would like to have if I was doing your job. And so this has been a wish list item for me for a long time. But every time we sat down to talk about it, we're like, it's just going to be impossible. It's just going to be impossible. Well, it was made possible. So for years, I've heard people say, well, yes, I know I have to close out my grant, but do you know how many areas I have to go check? And I don't know everywhere I have to go check. And, you know, I have to check HR. I have to check student. You know, there's just stuff everywhere for grants. You know, how do I know what I'm supposed to deal with in preparation for closing out a grant, right? Well, there's a new report coming called Open Transactions by Project. Basically, this report will allow you to run it for your grant, and it will show you where around the financial system, HR system, and student system are transactions and or setup that needs to be addressed before you guys close out your grant, okay? I know, sorry it took so long. And as you can see, I think last count, I saw it again last night, we're checking 31 sections around all 3 systems. Of course, the main checking goes on in financials, of course, but we are checking HR. And in HR, we're checking for budget distributions. Are there still folks assigned in budget distributions that you guys need to go talk to your HR person and say, please move them? Are there any transactions in the HR system that still haven't been approved, like redistributions that need to be addressed so we can move this along? In the student system, we're checking to see if you guys have any student sponsorship or graduate fellowship setup that needs to be addressed as well. Okay? Here's a preview of the report of what it looks like. Basically, when you run it, it's going to include all the detail from the segment and all its children if it has children. And it'll show you by section what remains open and for you guys to address it. Okay? I'm not going to scroll too much because I'm trying to protect the HR information. Okay, so I'm hoping to release this soon. It's actually going to the central offices tonight for final approval. We're going to roll it out to production. I will be reaching out some people in the colleges to ask them to start playing with it, to let me know if there's anything that we're missing. It's gone through 3 different reviews, so I'm hoping that we have everything, but definitely you guys, when you start using it, if you think there's a field missing or a message that would be more helpful, please let us know so we can fix it and make it more useful. All right? Other changes coming soon. So since we did the open transactions report by project, I challenged my team of, well, why are we just doing it by project? Why don't we do it also by department and by user? Okay? The department one will only be allowed to be run probably at the 4 and 6 digit level only. There's still talks about whether we'll allow 2 digits. I'm sure you can imagine why we can't allow 2 digits. Some of your colleges, we can't let you run it by 2 digit. Sorry, Cals. So, because this is production and we don't need to bring the entire system down, scanning the entire system for transactions. So we're still talking about how we can do 2-digit for the smaller units. But I think this would be a great report for year end. Because keep in mind, you guys, this is not only for grants. This is for any funding source. Yes, it was designed for grants, but it can be run on any funding source, any project ID on campus. So I think it would be a great tool for year end when we're making sure that everything is, moving along and closing its way out while we close the year. And I think for those who are going through reorgs, I think it would also be a great tool at reorg time because, if you've ever worked on a reorg with Jennifer Coltrane and I, we always come back and say, hey, you guys need to close these transactions out from the old OUCs because you're going to a new OUC, right? The other version we're going to create is by user. So over the years, and I've been here too long now, I've heard people say, well, Yessie, I keep a spreadsheet of all the transactions I enter during the day. And then the next day, I go into WRS and make sure that they post it. I'm like, okay, cool. All right, I feel for them. So I'm hoping this will help. So instead of them keeping a spreadsheet, or maybe until they feel more comfortable, they'll actually be able to run it by their Opera ID. So if you run it by your Opera ID, you'll actually see all the open transactions that you have created in the system that haven't posted officially to WRS, okay? So I also think that's useful at month end because, even though we don't send reminders anymore, we still have a ton of journals that at the end of the quarter we're deleting because people forget about them, okay? Some WRS changes coming. So a few months ago, we talked about how there's new stipend accounts that you guys have been asked to use. And for years, I've heard, Yessie, that row on P1 that says student aid. It's not fair to the grants people. There's stuff hidden in there that, every time we need to see the detail, we have to drill on it to see detail or expand it to see detail. Well, let's say maybe next week, WRS will be changed. P1, C3, M1, and M2, the grid for will now be changed to where the student aid line becomes 3 lines. One line for student aid, you see the account range, a range for student stipend, and a range for student non-stipend. So that went out to the central offices last night for final approval. So I'm hoping maybe at the latest next Thursday it'll be in production, okay? So I hope that helps. The other thing that we're doing in WRS, and again, I don't know why I didn't do it before, is currently when Diane sends the email that the month is closed, I have to remember to post it on WRS that the month is closed and to change the grant closeout system to recognize that it needs to pull in the new month. Well, I'm kind of automating that whole process because, Yessie's getting older and sometimes forgets. So one of the things that we're going to change is on the WRS menu, right under the wolves, there'll be a new message that tells you the last month that was officially closed in the system, okay? Hopefully, the grant closeout system will automatically know that the new month has been closed. So I hope that helps. I know it'll help me. All right, last thing on my list is the grant closeout workflow changes. So I'm sure you guys have heard by now that the grant closeout system is currently in development. We are only rewriting the workflow piece. There are plans to rewrite the entire monster at some point in time, hopefully sometime next year, but currently we're only doing the workflow piece. And the only reason why we're rushing the workflow piece is because the financial systems is going through an upgrade, which is scheduled to go live at the end of February. And the new version we're going to does not like the existing workflow. It's the old one from the old PeopleSoft system. So we are rewriting it, and we started campus testing last week. We had 2 days of campus testing, but my lovely folks who came to test for me found some issues. And so instead of asking everybody else to come in and find the same issues, I requested testing to be halted to give us some time to fix it. the issues that were found. They're not major issues, but definitely things that I thought that you guys would not like, which is why, as you guys know, we go through 3 rounds of testing. We test, your central office tests, and you guys test to make sure that when we get to production, it works as expected. So I'm hoping sometime next week I will be sending the email out again for you guys to sign up again for campus testing. For those who have tested, they will be given the option to test from their desk instead, since they know how to get into the system and know what to do. But if you want to come hang out with me in Avon Ferry, you're more than welcome to come hang out with me. So some of the changes to grants closeout. So with the new workflow, guess what? Email notifications, yay. Come on. I know you don't like that many emails, but the other thing that we're changing is that closeouts will be sent directly to the GBMs, not the GBOs. So that's why we've been working with the colleges for the last few months and making sure that their grant approver setup is working the way they want it to do, which is why we're asking people to come test to make sure that the setup and the flow is working. The GBOs will have proxy approval authority over every college level, GBM, CSA/tiers, and their own level. There will also be pushback functionality. You won't be recycling, you will be pushing back. You'll be able to push back 1 level back, except the GBMs can't push back. Actually, there will be a whole new feature in the closeout system that allows you to see why it's still sitting at the CNG level. There'll be 3 statuses that lets you know why it's still sitting at CNG: awaiting campus documentation, awaiting sponsor documentation, and awaiting final payment. Also, as part of this project, we're rolling out a new page where you guys will be able to see what projects are going to be eligible for closeout in the next 90 days to give you an opportunity to maybe get a head start of trying to start creating the necessary PMRs or having conversation with grants or Sparks about why these projects need to be altered now before they enter the closeout system, in an attempt to reduce the amount of denies going back to CNG that, you know, this project should have never gone into closeout, okay? We also gave you more search capability and more columns on the closeout inquiry page, and you'll have new search options on the closeout form, okay? So if you really want to see the changes for closeout, guess what? Come to testing, okay? The testing sign-up goes directly to the GBOs. So make sure when you see an email from your grant business officer to sign up, please go ahead and sign up. It's a 2-hour window to come sign up. There will be 4 different time opportunities to come sign up. It's just to hang out with us for a few hours and make sure it works based on, you know, what you're expecting, okay? Questions? Oof. No? All right, cool. Well, thank you guys.